What is up, everybody? Soloists from the future here going over OP10. It's out on the sim now. It's not out in America, but it's out in the sim. This is Yellow Kid, PP Kid. Someone peed in the snow and we got Kid. Yellow Kid is probably, it's too soon to say, but it's going to quickly become my favorite leader in this game. I have had so much fun testing this leader, more fun than I think I've had since I started playing the game. There's just something about this leader that really itches my brain super good. If you don't know, end of your turn, you may turn the your top life face up, so you can't do it if your life is already face up. It has to be face down. Set up one of your 3 to 8 cost supernova characters active and give it blocker until the end of the turn. That is just insanely strong. It's so defensive, and the way I play this deck is kind of offensively. So this deck list I did get from a flagship winning deck list on gumgum.gg, but I edited it a little bit, ever so slightly a little bit, to add a few things in here that I like. So I'm gonna quickly go over this. I'm learning this deck, so this probably will end up changing. But we'll go over Satori, just a good 2K to have. Better than Frankie in this, because we're not gonna be dancing around one life a lot in this deck. So having this feels really, really good to just play it out if you get it. Have an extra body on the board. Ace, always a very good yellow card, but the reason it's really good in this deck is even if it's not getting rush, it is healing you a life and putting a face down life on top. So if your opponent's not swinging your life so that you can't set things as blocker, leaving that top life face up, you can play Ace to get a face down top life and give one of your already existing supernova characters blocker. We have Nami here. Nami is just really good for removal. The trigger is really, really good as well. If you see it popping up when you give something a blocker, you can plan a few steps ahead with it. Very good card in that. It's just a very generically good card. And here's where the list starts to deviate. I can try to find the list specifically that I had for that kid. Let me try my best to find it really quick. It's been a minute since I've seen it, but I do believe that this is it right here. This is the list that I did use right here by this dude in Japan. Pretty decent list. Very similar to the one I'm running. I did cut out the Gidatsus. A lot of people run Gidatsu in this deck, and I'm not gonna lie, maybe I just don't understand the deck well enough yet, but I just don't see how it's a good card at all. Because of cards like Robin here, which if they have 3 or more life, trashes a card. Cards like Hawkins that trashes a card. Kid trashes a card. Now granted, Kid is a little later than that, but very rarely will Gidatsu actually have value in this deck. I feel like they're gonna be taking your hits because they're too scared of the trashing, so they'll pretty much take every swing early on. And by the time you get to 5 Dawn, I find it much more valuable to either play a Hawkins or play if you have a 6 Dawn turn, I find it way more valuable to play a Robin or a Cavendish to give it blocker. I don't really know about this card, so I cut it out. Maybe I'm not seeing how to actually play the deck yet, and I'll put it back in, but that's just, I replaced 4 of these with 2 Robins, and here's where we get into the new cards. This is just a vanilla 6/8, but having a 6/8 that you can give blocker, so it's an 8K blocker for 6 Dawn is pretty big. On your 6 Dawn turn, you have an 8K blocker. Hello? It's crazy. We have Apu here. Apu is a 1 cost 1K blocker, but it only gets blocker if there's another supernova character on the field, which is weird because there's a lot of 1K blockers in this game, so I don't know why this one had to have a weird stipulation about it, but maybe it has something to do with this already being such a blocker heavy deck, but it's also ran in law, so I'm not too sure. This card is the best card in the deck, in my opinion. It's so underrated. Hawkins, 4 cost 5K. On KO, trash 1 life from the top of your opponent. You just play this out and right away give it blocker, and the first swing that comes through, just block and get an early trash on life. It doesn't matter. You don't need to get value out of swinging it. The best value you can get out of this card is to block. Beckman is one of the few cards in the meta right now that are actually trashing instead of KOing. So black, if they don't want 5K pings at life every single turn, like Lucci, gonna have to KO it and lose a life. It's huge value. Super duper good. You can play multiple of them turn to turn to turn and just trashing life. They're never getting the cards in hand because it's trash. It's insanely good. Insanely good card. We have a generic searcher. Luffy's just a searcher for supernova. We have Kid. Here's another very good card. On play, rest the character and trash a life. Again, very amazing. Now, the end of the turn that you get to cycle a card if they have 2 or less life is also pretty huge. By the time you play this, they're going to have 2 or less life because they're going to be taking life to get anything out of their life that they can before it all gets trashed. So you're going to get value out of this. And also, if you have a face down life on top, even though you rest this, you set it as active at the end of the turn and give a 9k blocker. Insane. This Zoro, I didn't like at first because it's a 3/5 and it gets rushed if you have fewer life. And the more I play tested with this leader, I never found myself having fewer life than my opponent. So I was about to cut it out, but it is very good to swarm the board in the Blackbeard matchup to have those 5 pings. And it's also playable if you get a Robin trigger. So if you have like this in your hand as a brick and you get a Robin trigger toward the end of the game where you're not really going to be able to trash life, they have less than 3 life, and you have more life than them and you just need an extra body, you can use this to cheat this out. So it's pretty good in that regard. Hawkins or X-Drake is a very, very good card to basically you rest him, activate main, you rest him so it gets around Blackbeard's on plays, and you rest when your opponent's 4 costs or less if you have equal to or less life. So it having equal to or less life is kind of tough because again, I don't find myself taking, I find my opponent losing a lot of life a lot faster than I do. But there's still situations for it, but at the end of the day, if you never use it, it's a 2k, a searchable 2k. Very, very good. This Law is also a very, very good card. Reveal a Supernova type character from your hand and put it at the top of your life face down. Then if your leader has Supernova, give it 1 rested on. So you heal 1 and then put a face down life on top so you can use leader ability again to give this thing blocker or something else blocker. It's really good that if you attacked with a kid that turn, then you can use this and then set the kid active so it can't be swung into and then give it blocker. So it's very defensive, and I always forget that it moves it on to leader. I'm getting better at it, but I always do. Now this is a very essential card in the deck, but I did realize it's a promo. It's just a 2k that you can cheat out of life if your life total with your opponent is equal to 5, but it's just another searchable 2k. Now obviously I don't think this promo will be out in America whenever set 10 comes out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if it's not, I mean, I guess Beiji is just another generically good 2k to run. The only problem is it doesn't have the Supernova tag. So if you want just a 2k, you probably use this Beiji. This Beiji is more for Law. If you don't know what it does, you can add 1 card from the top or bottom of your life cards to your hand. Add it to 1 character with the type Supernova from your hand to the top of your life face up. So it kind of cycles and gives you a little bit of cycling, but the bad thing about it is that it puts it on life face up, which goes against what Kid wants to do. It goes completely for what Law wants to do. But I guess until this promo card comes out, you could run this Beiji just to have a searchable 2k. So you won't get too much value out of it. It's really not good in this deck, but it will be fine to have a searchable one. They really should have put the Supernova tag on this Beiji. If this Beiji had the Supernova tag, I have a feeling it would be in this deck undisputedly over anything, but it's not. So this is what we got now. And if we don't have this launch of OP10, then we'll take this. And then we have Damned Punk. It's basically just a Katakuri effect, looking at the top life of you or your opponent's life and then moving it to the top or bottom. But then after that, you just get the KO of 5 costs or less for 4/9. This is an Enel card more than anything. This will go into Enel 100%. But I put it in here. It's actually very good for going for win to kill blocker at the end. A little more consistent for me than X-Drake, because X-Drake has the stipulation of equal to or less life, which is too situational for me. And for 1 more Dawn, you just guarantee kill a 5 cost or less blocker, which is almost all blockers in this format. There's also a lot of 8 cost Kid in this format. So this makes it a little easier to swing into 8 cost Kid if you already have established 9k bodies. There's a lot of 8 cost Kid in this format. I don't know why. Shanks players, you need to go punish them, but 8 cost Kid, the green Kid obviously, is rampant. So I don't know. I did test against one of my buddies, like I would like to say like 15 games, and he only took 1 off me, and he was playing Smoker, the new Smoker. So I do think Kid is very good in this meta. He's the leader I was most excited about, and for due reason. It's the most fun I've had in the game in a while. Here's 3 fun games. Like, comment, subscribe. This is kind of the list I'm cooking with. A few possibilities to put in. I don't love a lot of the stuff in the Supernova package. This is a generically good vanilla that you could play on your 6th on turn just to have a blocker if you don't have this. So if you want to run this, it's good. I'd rather run the Robin to get the banish on play. But they both have 1k, and this one just has a good trigger. So I do like the Robin better. Everything else that I'm not running is a little better in Law, which I will do a video on. Law, if you don't know, is right here. He seems good, but insanely hard. Like, call me stupid if I'm wrong, but he seems really hard, which makes me want to learn it, obviously. But we're gonna be kid players, so here's another card I really want to tech in somehow, is the starter deck Luffy from the Black Yellow Luffy. It's just take your top life, give it plus 2,000. Again, this would be awesome, and you don't have to do that, so it could just be a 5/6 body with 1k. But you know, if you're on a situation where they're leaving your top life face up, it's a good way to buff this leader and then just take the life. If you want to, you know you're gonna heal, but you're still in a good spot. Buff your leader, get to 8k, and then play this down and get that life back. Whatever, man. I mean, this is a card I'm also thinking about playing around with. Maybe I'll test it and replace, I don't know, maybe I'll go to 3 Ami, and who knows? I'm not gonna think about that right now. But let me know what you think. Have you been playing with Kid? I don't know. I would love to talk shop with this character because he's my favorite leader in the game right now. Very fun. Bye, enjoy these video games. Like, comment, subscribe. Goodbye. Okay, we are going up against Caesar, and we're gonna go second. Even though we have our Hawkins in hand, everything else is pretty good for late game, but I don't want that much late game. If you don't know what he does, when attacking, return a Punk Hazard character of 2 cost or more to your hand, and then KO of 4,000 power or less. So it's essentially a aggro deck that has a lot of removal in it. So I am very interested in playing Caesar. Caesar's one of my favorite villains in One Piece, because I don't know why, honestly. He just is. We will resolve. Can I even trigger this if it's a total of 5? We can't, so we can't trigger that out. No worries. We do get the Hawkins, which is pretty huge. We'll do a 5 at life. One thing to note is that unless he is playing Beckman, he's going to have to KO this with his leader ability, which will result in a trashed life. And I almost, in case he is playing Beckman, want to just take the life. I mean, he's going to trash it right here, thus trashing a life, which is fine. I was probably going to block this turn anyway. We will definitely trash. He's already at 2. I don't care to take this hit. We're already at 6 Dawn, which means that we can swing 5. We have 3 Cavendish Vanillas in our hand. We may as well get value out of this card since we have so many of it. And since we took a life, we can use leader ability to give a blocker. So we'll have an 8k blocker on field. Play, activate, and give blocker. And we have a Zoro next turn that we can trigger out. Very nice. You don't really get a whole lot of value out of Zoro. I'm going to counter this. You don't get a lot of value out of Zoro with the rush ability the way I play. There is times you do, but it's just such a good trigger. It's such a good target for Law. So we are going to be losing our Cavendish this turn. So he probably is playing the build with Beckman since he has Building Snake in his deck, which is a pretty good idea because then he can always swing. This is just such a good card for this deck. We will use trigger, and we'll get rid of maybe one of the Cavendishes. I don't need that many. And then we have just a reliable 5k body. What does this guy do? If you have one or less characters with 6,000 power or more, he gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. Okay. And then he has a 6k blocker, which in the other Smoker and the other Punk Hazard deck, that's a 7k blocker for 4 Dawn. It's kind of crazy. So we can either go for trashing his life, which will put him at 0 and put him in a pretty sticky situation, or I can remove. I think trashing life feels pretty good. Getting value out of it before we can't. So we can swing. He can give us a free block, which I think is fine. A free block, and then we demand counter out of hand. Or maybe he'll just give us double counter and not really realize that he has a blocker. Yeah. You know, it's not a super good play to do that a lot of the time, but sometimes you just never know. I shouldn't have trashed that. And actually, trashing that Nami is fine. I think he'll be okay. And now we have a 9k blocker. We're in a pretty good spot, and he's at 0 life. And a lot of that life, 2 of those lives were trashed. So we're feeling pretty good. Now, it seems like he does a pretty good job of just removing large bodies. So Caesar might not be that bad. I don't know. People are cooking. People are definitely cooking. But the really cool thing is if he doesn't apply another one of these, then we can just take that out next turn. We will counter since we have the counter to do it. He could play another chopper. If he doesn't, then we just damned punk it and go on from there. So he's gonna swing 7 at it again, 8 at it. We can't even save that, so of course he's gone. So it comes down for 4. Yes, another chopper. Okay, so what we can do here is actually heal and play a blocker. So we will do that. We'll put this on top. Give him a rested Dawn. And then we'll just swing 6 at face. Get a card out of hand. And then what I'm going to do here, I guess I could have swung 7. For some reason in my head, I was telling myself this was a 2 cost. Just looking back, I was like, why would that be a 2 cost? That would be insanely broken. I will just play out a chump blocker and in turn, I will face this up and give law blocker. So we're pretty safe. I am curious to see what other kind of removal techniques he's got up his sleeve. But playing Dragon kind of plays his hand. He can KO Apu. I didn't even think about that. He definitely can KO Apu. Okay, Monet. You don't even have to Monet. You're just making... Okay, hold up. You can give it to a character, too. But it's only 1 rested Dawn. Where'd that other one come from, then? Or one of your Dawn to your characters. Where'd that other one come from? Oh, did he have an up that I didn't see? I think this is going to be fine because these are 4Ks. Yeah, I'm not sure what his game plan is here. Maybe he's just trying to live. Then we'll take a hit from this, and I don't care to take all of these because Dragon's definitely going to hit us. I mean, we'll do that. We don't need a Searcher. So does he in turn and just leave these guys up? If he does, then we're definitely just going to damned punk one of them. And then be able to go for game there, I think. So we'll damned punk. Oh, I didn't mean to play a Searcher. I wasn't looking at what I was doing. Uh-oh. We'll do this. That's a oopsie-doopsie. Then we'll swing 9, which if this doesn't go through, then we're kind of boned. Okay, he concedes. That was a throw. I mean, 1 Dawn, it doesn't really make too much of a difference, but I mean, I was just looking, knowing I was going to do that and click the card next to it. Totally brain fart. Uh-oh. Let's play another one. All right, we're going to go into Usopp. Usopp draws a card if we remove one of their characters and they have 5 or less cards. Pretty weird, like opposite of what they normally want. So we're not going to go for a lot of removal. We're kind of just going to say, I'm going to trash all your life before you can even process what's happening kind of deal. And we have 2 Hawkins in hand, which is huge. Well, in turn, we don't have a Searcher, so we can't really get much out of it. 2, yeah, that's huge. 2 Hawkins, that's both of our next turns. Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good for us. Dandamantran. Cool. Good name. I'm not too sure. This is probably the next deck I want to make, but I'm not too sure what its goals are. I haven't even seen gameplay. Like, Kid is kind of self-explanatory. You trash life, you give big things blocker, you go brrr. So, we've got a very trash life heavy build going right now. If we draw into a Robin, that would be a very good turn 3 play. Throw down a Hawkins, and then we'll be safe. We'll take this first hit. What does this do? Draw 2, discard 1. We'll do that. Just, oh, we don't need to, kids. Oh, so I'm not even going to swing this turn. Actually, I will swing. We'll see if he takes. He'll probably take. A lot of people usually take their first life. We'll see what he does. If he counters, we're in such a good spot. It's not even funny. Now, does he take? Does he counter? He doesn't know I have Robin in hand. He counters. Oof. In turn, we'll give him blocker. So any swing that goes through, we are going to block and trash a life. And the next turn, we're just going to smack Robin down and trash a life. That's like the perfect curve for this deck, I feel like. And then the next turn, we can trash a life with Kid. And we're going to keep his life going down, his hand size small. It's going to be beautiful. Now, this same stuff would probably work pretty good in Robin. It just works a little better in Kid, I think, because you can give Hawkins blocker. Being able to give things blocker just works better. We will block. Crash alive. Oh, boo-hoo. You lost a Sabo. What does that do? Oh, that's a pretty good card. Are there any... Oh, I guess it's a Dressrosa card. So we put down a blocker. That's not going to help you. I have a feeling this guy may not be super familiar with this deck. Crash alive. Swing 5. So he's already at 2 life and 4 cards in hand. So he is in a horrible spot. And the next turn, regardless if he has 2 or 1 life, we play down Captain Kidd. He does block. I figured you do want to get value out of that, I feel like. All right, and then he does get to draw. Ooh, so it works with blockers too. That actually pretty cool. I didn't know that. Ooh, Usopp seems interesting then, because I was like, that's just relying in matchups where they just ignore board. That's not gonna, you're not gonna get any value out of that leader ability. You will get the +1 cost on things, but I don't know. But no, you can use blockers. That's pretty cool. Which is funny because if I didn't know about the blocker thing, it's like you make the cost higher to make things harder to remove, but you don't get value off your leader ability if things aren't getting removed. So it's like, what's the point of this leader? But I think that comes in handy. Honest to God, this leader could have no text for its text thing, and it being blue-black alone would be really good. So we red rock the Robin. That's an interesting choice. I don't need to search this game. I have a pretty good hand. I'm just going to go ahead and trash that. He has 1 Dawn up, and he uses it to play up to 1 character with Dressrosa type, and he concedes. All right. That was disgusting. I will play a 3rd game. Let's go to a 3rd one. All right, we got a black-yellow Linlin out here running around, so we're going to go ahead and go up against it, and we're going to keep going 2nd. Now, if this is playing like any of the builds I've been seeing online, this is going to trash cards from hand like crazy. So we want to get value ASAP out of cards. Pretty much, like, don't even want to think about it. So we will play this. And from this, we already have a Law, so we don't need another one. Zoro might be interesting, but then again, we don't have any 2K. We have 1 2K. 6th Dawn turn could be this. Let's just grab Cavendish. I think that'll be a little more aggro, a little better for us. A lot of the time I grab 2Ks just being scared, thinking I need them, and offense really is the best defense sometimes in this game, and I'm trying to like plug my brain up to think that a lot more. Yep, exactly what I thought. We've got a negative hollow build on our hands. Luckily, it hit the ace. Ace would be good in this matchup, but of all the things in my hand, it is the one thing I don't mind losing. So thank God it wasn't Hawkins, though. Okay, we do have removal on our board now. We'll swing 5 at lead. They'll probably end up taking. We don't really have to worry about saving life for 3 anymore because we don't have Robin. Ooh, yeah. And he blocks it. Okay. We will give you blocker. So any swing that goes through, we're going to have to start trashing life. We don't want to give them card value. So the earlier we trash life, the better. Although there is a world where we take a hit so we can have less life and get rush on Zoro. I guess it depends. I think he's going to want to do card discard before he attacks. So I guess it depends on what gets discarded. He could do that 5-cost Lucci. He could do more negative hollows. 2 negative hollows would hurt pretty bad. The discard decks are pretty cool, I think. I want to make a video on one eventually. But right now, OP10 is kind of hot. I think I'll be making a few OP10 videos. I'm not done with OP09 videos since that's the meta we currently have. But OP10, fun to look forward to, man. The fun meta. Ooh, yeah. Give him time to think it. If we take this, we'll go to 3. I think we'll just take it and then hurt him next turn. Maybe. He plays a Frankie? Ugh, that's weird. So we're not getting a ton of value out of trashing yet, which is fine. We can build up hand a little bit. We need to save 3 for a 5K rush. We can search for Kid. Do I want to get a 2K or a blocker? I think I'll take a blocker. Then we have 2 more. We could throw... Let's just throw 5-5-7. Or 5-6-6. 6. I didn't even think this through. Now I can't do rush. I'm such an idiot. Oh my god, we'll just do this. Use card action, we'll give him blocker. I'm so stupid. I had to play it first. I had to be the first hit I did. And it was the last, for some reason, hit I was gonna do. I'm such a moron. We already have one of these in hand, so if we take this, we will trigger it. I really like this card, and I saw no builds using it, and I think I like it a lot. It's just removal, man. And has a really good trigger. Now, if you could put it in life with Law, but Law says to put a character in life, yeah. If you could put a Supernova type character, that would be great. So he seems desperate. He doesn't really know what's going on, I feel like. We'll just block and trash alive. Get rid of a Beiji. That's actually huge. We'll take a 7. We'll use trigger. We do get the kid. We're gonna be at 8 next turn, so I think this might be a little too slow at this point. So we'll just go ahead and trash it. He'll probably end up using it next turn. Let's throw a 5K. See what happens. He takes. We automatically just go ahead and do this. Throw a 5K. He has to block or give us counter. He's in a horrible spot. He's not getting to remove at all. He can heal next turn and possibly even use Yamato for something. Let's discard. We definitely don't really need Robin. We'll use card action. Let's give Kid blocker. So, yeah, but he's not going to get any value. You can take out my Apu blocker, but... And he can heal with leader ability. All right, leader ability is attack 2, tap 2. You may trash 1 card from your hand. If you have 1 or less life cards in your life area, place up to, so you just heal 1. God, that's such a bad leader ability. Oh my god. Oh, it's so bad because it's 4 Dawn just to heal 1 when you have so many other cards that do that for so much better. You're basically attacking 7 and healing 1 when Yamato heals 1 and takes out a body. Ace heals 1 and gets a 10k rush. And even though you're using all your Dawn, that's just so much more value. I guess this can do that and play blockers or something. I'm not really sure that it's a good deck. I'm just gonna be real with you. We'll actually end up countering this. I mean, I could take it and put another body on board to pressure more. I think I will, actually. Just to be cheeky. We have a 9k blocker. We're fine. We're cooking. We have a ton of counter in our hands. Oh, okay. Okay, Kuzan. I mean, we'll just get rid of a Robin. I really don't care to do that. And he healed us. I'll take it. That's definitely game, though. Like, 9. Nine probably goes through. He did leave a Dawn up. I wonder what that's for. Ooh. Good trigger. I mean, there's no world that all in doesn't just take it, right? If not, I still feel comfortable I'll live. Yeah. I was about to say, the 1 Dawn is confusing me. I don't know what that's for. That was ending on a fun game, whatever. This is not a serious leader. I just saw it and I was like, oh, I'll click it. So like, comment, subscribe. This is probably gonna be my main next set. I really like this deck. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.